What is up, everyone? This weekend I competed at the EU International Championships in Frankfurt, one of the first ever official Pokemon Go tournaments, and I managed to reach top 8. So today we're gonna take a look at my battles, see how I did. But before I do, I just wanna talk about my experience at the event a little bit because it was absolutely amazing. Overall, the event was super well organized. Besides a couple hiccups at the start, everything ran super smoothly. I think my biggest complaint about the whole weekend was just the game is not in a great state yet. Of course, there's still a lot of lag around, but luckily, since we were all playing on the exact same device, on the same private Wi-Fi network, there were a lot less issues than you would have if you were just playing at home with your own device. And if there were issues, there were a lot of good judges present, which could potentially give you a rematch if the issues were severe enough. Of course, it's still not perfect yet, and especially issues like inconsistent fast move denial or desync after charge moves are still very present. So we need to see those fixed, but if they do, I am very, very hopeful for these events because everything else was perfect. Like, it was great. Pokemon Go was their center stage, and we were all just watching the battles on a big screen with the amazing shoutcasting of Zionic, Tuo Butters, Speedy Chief, and Caleb Pang. They truly did a great job. They really, really did. The Twitch and YouTube live streams were also amazing. I saw a good chunk of it when I arrived back home, and wow, it was just really, really good. I saw a lot of positive comments about the game. You know, a lot of people are still skeptical about Pokemon Go because it's just tap, tap, tap. And that's a common sentiment I saw. But people, after watching a couple games, quickly realized that it's more than just that and actually quite exciting. So that's good to see, and it makes me really excited for the future of these tournaments. Anyway, let's get into the battle, starting with my round 1 versus Clawless Lion, in which we were immediately called onto the main stage to do our battles there, which was pretty nerve-wracking but also exciting. The main stage, just a big round table, both battlers on either side, 2 judges present with a little monitor right here to where they can see our battles. With these headsets on, which really like block the sound, we were pretty close to like where the crowd was. But these headsets block the sounds really well. You could still hear a little bit if the crowd was quite loud, but overall blocked quite well because they also had like a very kind of, at the start, it was kind of annoying sound in there, like some white noise, like a constant in your ears. It was quite annoying at first, but you got used to it. It wasn't that bad. And we had mics hooked up as well, so we could actually talk to our opponent and the judges the whole time, which was pretty good. Cameras all around as well, and lights. It's so professional, so crazy, so nerve-wracking, but also exciting to be there. I was running a very simple team of Azumarill, Galarian Stunfisk, Medicham, Shadow Warren, Shadow Nidoqueen, and Amandabuzz. This tournament, to be honest, I didn't do too much preparation on team building, so I just brought the most broken Pokemon I could think of. I started off with the big 3, which I think are the most broken Pokemon in Open Great League right now: Shadow Nidoqueen, Shadow Warrain, and Galarian Stunfisk. And then to cover for some of their weaknesses, I brought Azumarill, Medicham, and Mandibuzz with that. Ended up being a pretty solid squad. My opponent ended up being a very inexperienced player. He was actually wanting to play in a TCG tournament, but he couldn't get a ticket there, so just got a ticket for Go, and he locked in whatever Pokemon he thought were pretty decent. Ended up being Obstagoon, Togetic, Altaria, Empoleon, Durant, and Skarmory. Like I said, very inexperienced player. He actually had to ask me how it worked, like right before we started the battles, because he had never done a Show 6 Pick 3 tournament. For those of you that also don't know, I'll quickly explain the Show 6 Pick 3 tournament, which means both players have a team of 6. Both players share their team of 6 with the opponent, so you're aware of what 6 they could potentially be running. And then for every battle, you can pick a team of 3, which you think functions best against their team, to play against them. But my opponent wasn't really aware before he went into this. I was quite inexperienced, which is fine. There were players of all skill levels at these tournaments, and most of the players I talked to, even inexperienced players, had a lot of fun. So if you're worried you're gonna get knocked out in the first couple rounds, I don't think you should be that worried because overall, even if you don't do that great, it's still a very fun event. We're not gonna watch these battles, because I just end up kind of wrecking him. They're kind of boring. If you want to watch him, there's his timestamp right here on the on the YouTube live stream. My next opponent was a lot more exciting with JBG Wins, and a really good player from Germany. If you've ever played the Silver Arena, you'll probably know him. He's really active there and really good. He's running a team with Corselia, Galarian, Stunfisk, Sableye, and unfortunately, the rest of the team is not on screen yet. I think on the start of the stream, they weren't really that good with adding the teams quick, but later on, they got really fast with it, so that's quite nice. But he's also running Scrafty, Walrein, and Talonflame. So overall, pretty weak team to Azumarill. He really only has Corselia for it. So I definitely bring Azumarill in my squad. Paired with two really good Corselia answers in Manabuzz and Galarian Stunfisk. I actually was expecting him to lead Corselia here, but I couldn't really find a good squad with my Stunfisk or Manabuzz lead, so I decided to lead Azu, hoping he wouldn't lead Cress, because I feel like Azu lead is like a very obvious lead for me. Too obvious, so that's why he wouldn't lead the Cress, but he does. It's a bad lead for me.
And we
I have to
Winston
instantly
here
switch
on the opposing end,
into
going
my
against
Galarian
ThoTechtical here.
here.
And this is going to be an interesting matchup
switch.
here. Corselia does have that super effective grass knot for the Azumarill, and it looks like ThoTechtical.
Yes. If you want to hear the casters audio, which I do recommend, definitely check out the main stream as well. Anyway, I switched into my G-Fisk here. Even if it brings in Scrafty, I can probably kill it in the zeros with a little bit of energy advantage with double Earthquake. Here comes a Sableye. This is not great, but it's kind of fine for Stunfisk. Not with the health deficit I have though, because after this foul play, he can just farm me down. I'm gonna go for the Rock Slide here. You're gonna see me swipe the Rock Slide a little bit like an Earthquake, because you could see the opponent's like movements a little bit from across the table, which I saw a lot of controversy about. I saw a lot of people that were like, people are cheating, they're looking at the charge moves. Honestly, I feel like that's part of the game. You also see me swipe the Earthquake here, kind of like a Rock Slide. Actually lets it go, which is really good for me. Taking Switch is huge. Honestly, I think JBG kind of messed up there. I feel like he should have just double or shielded once and taken Switch, because now he's gonna have his Stunfisk versus the Azu and the Manabuzz versus the Crest. But yeah, like I said, I saw a lot of people say like, "Wow, that's cheating." They're looking at each other's hands, and I think that's I don't think that's reasonable. I think that's part of the game, and it's not that hard to hide. You just put your phone down a little bit. You can fake the charge move, even like I just did with swiping the Earthquake like Rock Slide. And I like being able to see my opponent. On day 2, they put up a big divider in the middle of the main stage, so you couldn't even see your opponent, and I think that's kind of lame. But yeah, this game now should be basically over. We have a little bit of a visual glitch there, which the health of the Stunfisk didn't go down when I threw Ice Beam, but that usually happens when your opponent is switching during their charge moves, usually when they do it too early. I think if you wait until like the final second to switch, it doesn't happen. But since it did, I knew it was going to switch, so instant switch Manabuzz. At this point, pretty sure the game is just over, right? I wonder what the casters were saying now.
Not to shield and taking super effective Dark Pulse damage.
That is a lot of damage on a very bulky Pokemon. I really like that Dark Pulse because it does cost a bit more energy to gather.
The casting this event was just so good. I'm not going to do it the whole video, but they're just constantly making it exciting. Honestly, I think for most like experienced players, this game is over, right? This game is over, but I think it's good. And so it's easy to not get excited anymore for the rest of this battle. But the casters, I think, did a great job at keeping it exciting, which I think is very important, especially for like newer viewers. So I think they did a really great job at that. I really can't wait to see like future tournaments. I think there's a lot of regionals in the USA soon, which hopefully will get live streamed as well, because that will be really fun. Anyway, Azumarill into Stunfisk now. Just gonna keep on Ice Beaming, and should be able to take this game. You know what? It's gonna fast forward a little bit. Yeah, shoot up the Earthquake, throw the Ice Beam. And that is a first win for me. Honestly, I got pretty lucky there. I feel like JBG could have just won that game if he took switch advantage, but You know what, I'll take it. I think even if he took Switch Advantage, I would have had a Mandy with a Shield Advantage, and Dark Pulse Manibus actually doesn't do too bad versus Galarian Stunfisk. That's part of the reason I went Dark Pulse over Foul Play, because those neutral matchups are just a little bit better for Dark Pulse Manibus. So maybe I could have still won. Alright, let's get to the next battle here. Oh, yeah, I just got hard countered. It Walrein into Manibus, now Cresselia into Azumarill, and then it's gonna be Sableye onto my Medicham. I'm just gonna fast forward this a little bit, because JBG just made a really good call on my lineup, and he ends up winning the second match. There's nothing I could have done there, unfortunately. Next game. This is a very interesting game, actually. Galarian Stunfisk into a Sableye. Galarian Stunfisk generally loses the True Shoot, which I'm fine with, because my Mandibus with a Shield Advantage or my Azumarill with Shield Advantage is quite nice. He throws a Foul Play here, which I'm just gonna let go. Not sure if I should be throwing Earthquake here or Rock Slide, but he makes the decision really easy. He brings in the Walrein. In this split second, I was thinking, well, actually this whole game, I was thinking, he's gonna have Cresselia in the back. If I see an opportunity to use Azumarill, I gotta take it. Otherwise, it's gonna get aligned to the wall or to the Cresselia later. So when he brought in a Walrein, I was like, alright, I'm not even gonna throw the Rock Slide. That might be useful later for something else. I'm just gonna bring in Azu. But when I brought it in, I realized I should have one, thrown the Rock Slide to put it into range for Play Rough, and two, I should have realized I then realized it wasn't gonna be Cresselia on the back, because switching out Sableye to Stunfisk lead when you have a Cresselia on the back makes no sense. It's gotta be Scrafty, and if it's Scrafty, I need to get shields down, because Scrafty can actually beat Manibus if he keeps 2 shields. So I'm just gonna use shields here. I'm gonna start using shields. I'm gonna try to keep my Azumarill alive for that Scrafty later. Throwing another Play Rough. Also important to realize, my switch timer is up. I could switch into my Stunfisk at any moment, and I have a Rock Slide stored, so I could snipe him with that move. Gonna shoot up this next Earthquake. Honestly, this whole tournament, I didn't do a great job at tracking energy. I've been pretty lazy at that in general in GBL as well. Not really been practicing that. I really should have, though, because I could have thrown another bubble here and it would have been more optimal. And it's not that hard to count, so that's definitely something I should be working on. But this was a good play, though. Throwing the Rock Slide into the Walrein, just getting rid of it. This thing won't be any trouble anymore. It's now going to be able to bring in this Crafty versus my my Galarian Stunfisk, which is very fine for me, because I can just Earthquake this. Like, throws a Power Punch though, which that's fine. I don't die here. Still the Sableye in the back, but I still got Manibus for that. It's still not over though, because Sableye can still double return and kill my Manibus. And Azumarill is quite low. Azumarill is in a range where Azumarill is also energy dry, basically, or almost. It's like in a range where Sableye can probably outpace me and kill me if it wants to. So I bring in my Azumarill here, so I can just Play Rough this. And I almost end up misplaying here. I have the energy right after the charge move, so I should be under tapping my move. But I end up over tapping by accident. Luckily, I don't die to the counters though, so that's good. I throw the Play Rough his skills. Yes, it was in Ice Beam range, but I throw a Play Rough just in case he switches to Sableye, because that would do a nice chunk of damage. In comes the Sableye now, instant switch Mandy, and now just really gotta hope I get the 2 Dark Pulses before he can kill me with 2 returns. But I'm much more spammy than Sableye, so this should be pretty good. Yeah, you see me kind of smiling under the mask there too, looking at the crowd. I know I'm gonna win this at this point, so I'm very happy. He ends up throwing the return here still. No, he knows it's over. He knows it's over. Yeah, we are kind of talking to each other through the mics as well, which was kind of fun. GG to JBG. And we actually move on to the final round. Actually, what I haven't explained is how the bracket worked. There were like almost 100 participants, and we were divided into 4 equal groups. I was in Group A, and of every group, the top 2 players would continue to the next day. So the next match you're about to see of me is the winners finals of my group. If I win that, I'm on to the next day. If I lose, I still get have a chance because I go to loser's bracket. And if I keep winning, then I move on to the next day as well. Myself versus Elepfandflasche. Really amazing player from Germany, part of my Sylph factions team, the EU Emperors. So facing off against him in the finals was pretty exciting. Elepfandflasche's team was pretty interesting with Maddie, Diggersby, Cresselia, Walrein, Swampert, and Drapion. But the first thing I noticed is that my Medicham is really strong, really only has to worry about the Cresselia that much. Besides that, play against everything else. Menibus, same thing, strong against everything besides the Walrein. Though, like Medicham with Ice Punch is still annoying, Swampert still annoying, Drapion still annoying. But the Medicham Menibus core is extremely powerful, and like a Walrein in the middle or a Stunfisk to cover extra for the Cresselia is really good too. First game, I go with a pretty simple squad with Mendibus, Walrein, and Medicham, and I have a really good lead with my Mendibus into the Cresselia. This is another matchup where Dark Pulse is nice actually, because with Dark Pulse you can actually just double Dark Pulse and farm down before they get to 3 Moonblasts, I think. Whereas with Foul Play you actually have to do a second Foul Play. Gonna Dark Pulse this Cresselia at this point. Cresselia is actually not too bad versus Manibus, because the Moonblast just really hurt. I think Elepfandflasche also is a really nice strategy here with the Cresselia and the lead Medi in the back. Of course, Menibus is kind of a core breaker there, but both Cresselia and Medicham do fine against Menibus, so I cannot kill them both. And if they get rid of my Menibus, the other Psychic can kind of just go off. Which is one thing I really notice about my squad, is it's very weak against Medicham. I think if I would change my team right now, I would go with Sableye instead of Menibus. I went with Menibus originally because I wanted that good Sableye answer, but I think I could have managed without it. Overall, Sableye would have just been better. Here I get very lucky. I snuck a counter, and now I also deny a counter. It's kind of unfortunate for him. And then I also get this huge defense drop. Yeah, defense drop, which is very big. He ends up desyncing too. This was a very unfortunate situation for Elepfandflasche actually. This is probably one of the worst matches I've played, because he lags here as well. Yeah, that wasn't very nice. You can see him; he's clearly disturbed. I also wasn't very happy with that. I looked at him as well, because I mean, if the thing I was expecting was like a Walrein in the back, and if it was a Walrein in the back, I think it would have won. But since it's a Swampert, my Walrein kinda destroys it. So luckily, I don't think that little lag mattered. But you'll see. You'll see what happens later on in the game. This Swampert is actually gonna farm me down. Switching in his Menibus might have been a mistake. Still got to the aerial ace though, which might do will do a little bit extra damage. Gonna farm me down all the way. It's like 1,000,000 energy, so switching to my Medi to take that. I should have really fired my Ice Punch here, but I can just let this go as well. I still have Walrein left, so I'll bring that in right here. I probably should have fired the Ice Punch though. I make a huge mistake here, and I no-shoot. There was no reason to no-shoot this. There was 0 reason to no-shoot this. I thought it was going to be Hydro, but I should have shot it. There was no point. I almost die. I almost die. I almost lose the game because of it. Imagine if I would have. Brazen Crest to try to catch. Good try, but I have double Icicle Spear now, and I'll just hit it. This was weird. Some issue with the production, I think. But I'm firing my my Icicle Spear here, and I kill him. I win with 2 shields. So we talked about it. We actually talked about it. We talked about it with the judge as well. And no rematch was given. And Elephant agreed with that as well, because I would have won either way, because it was just hard countered. So yeah, rematches were really only given if it really impacted the game, which I think is a good thing. You're gonna see me lag out in a later match too, I didn't get a rematch for that as well because I just got hard counter. That's fine. Anyway, moving into game 2, I switch up my team a little bit with a Medicham lead this time and then 2 Cresselia answers in the back. It's a Swampert lead into my Medi, which I'm very happy to see because I have Galarian Stunfisk in the back, which definitely doesn't want to see the Swampert. I take the Hydro here. An Elepfandflasche ends up making a pretty good play here, and he switches it into the Medicham, which at this point I was fine with. I was expecting the Cresselia on the back, but I still have Menabuzz and Galarian Stunfisk. So that is not bad. I stay in here though, and that might be a mistake. My plan here was, I am expecting Cresselia in the back. I know I have 2 counters, so I don't really need my Medicham because the Cresselia is just kind of gonna get walled. What I wanted to do here is get rid of the Medi. Even if my Medicham doesn't kill his Medicham, I can bring in Menabuzz. And if it's Cresselia in the back, he's never gonna bring in the Cresselia versus my Menabuzz. He's just gonna bring in Swampert because it's better versus Menabuzz than Cresselia, right? And then I still have the Galarian Stunfisk for Cresselia in the back. That was my ID. But yeah, it doesn't really end up working out because Elepfandflasche is a really good player. Gonna throw an Ice Punch right here, which I'm just gonna have to eat. It's a downside of Ring Snarl Menabuzz. It doesn't do that great versus fighters. Maybe Air Slash was better, but I think overall Dark will serve me well. I'm just gonna overfarm as much as possible here. Throw the Aerial Ace into the Medicham, and this is where Elepfandflasche makes a really good call. He told me this was kind of a 50-50 for him. He was expecting either the Walrein or the Galarian Stunfisk. If it was Walrein in the back, he should have switched a Swampert in here. But he was expecting the Galarian Stunfisk, so it brings in Cress, which is a really good call. And at this point, I realize this is probably over. Because my Menabuzz is basically almost in range where a Moonblast knocks me out. So try to catch it. Doesn't happen though. These players are really good. Know how to time their moves so they don't get caught. I throw a Rock Slide bait here. I shield up this move, which is a mistake. He's gonna throw a Hydro Cannon here 100% of the time. I should just no shield, because I know I'm gonna take one no matter what. Actually though, if I no shield, maybe he can no shield this as well. And just sweep me with Crest. So maybe that was okay, because now I do get the shield bait. But I'm barely gonna get outpaced to the Earthquake. We get to there at the exact same time. If I would have just no shielded that Hydro, I would have been able to get to the Earthquake still if I shield up the next Hydro. But then again, if I no shield the Hydro, I think the chance of him no shielding the Rock Slide is also there. He has so much energy on the Crest. I have to overfarm a lot here. And the Moonblast would have already knocked me out anyway, so it didn't really matter that I took the Hydro there. I ended up going over 100, which is not good. Kind of over-tapped. It's not really gonna matter. I have Dark Pulse, and even though I do win CMP, I think... Actually, I think the Charge with Button... Yeah! His Charge... Dude! Oh, his Charge with Button didn't show up, which is so shitty. But luckily, he doesn't kill one, he still gets the move. Yeah, it doesn't. But yeah, as you could see, I really needed so much energy on Manabuzz to be able to kill this, but I just couldn't get there. GG. Good call. Really good play by Elepfandflasche there. Alright, game number 3. This is the one to decide it all. My Shadow Walrein versus his regular Walrein. This is another huge point. It gets to the Earthquake here, which I will shield up. They usually go for Earthquake immediately. Then I'll get to another Earthquake. I actually snuck a Powder Snow in, and then he didn't get one. So I am 1 ahead now. So I will outpace him to the next Earthquake. Which is good for me, but again, I don't want to keep repeating this, but that really shouldn't happen, right? That really shouldn't happen. I go for the Earthquake here. He makes a really nice catch from the Crest. This is really, really well played by him. This is a big... I wouldn't call it a waste of energy, but I would have rather spent that elsewhere. I'm just gonna farm up more energy on my Walrein because his Icicle Spares could come in handy later. I try to catch a Grass Knot, but he's very smart, doesn't throw it immediately. Realizes exactly what I'm gonna do and just throws the Moonblast into my Mandibuzz. There's a good chunk, but again, 2 don't kill, and I should get to the Dark Pulse before they can get to the next Moonblast. Yeah, because that Earthquake actually did a good enough chunk. This Dark Pulse should knock out the Cress. Does. At this point, I'm looking pretty good, because once the Crest is gone, Metachan with a shield can kill almost everything. I'm still kind of expecting his Medi in the back, though, and with a shield advantage, it could get kind of painful, but remember, I do have close to 2 Icicle Spears stored up onto my Walrein. And he's actually going to have to spend all of his energy here onto my Mandibuzz. Because Mandibuzz is just insanely tanky. There's a kill. Bring in Medi here to farm down. And yeah, brings in Walrein. At this point, it's over. Because I've got too much fast move pressure. I've got 2 Pokemon that can take Hydro Cannons easy. I don't want to take an Earthquake on Walrein, of course. But as long as I keep a shield for it, I should be very, very fine. I'm just going to wait for him to throw a move. And after that, I'll switch to Walrein. And I can just double Icicle Spear him. 1 Hydro coming through. Yeah, but I take this easy. Like I said. Switch to Walrein. Icicle Spear him once. Get to another one. Icicle Spear him twice. And then we farm down the Walrein. Not gonna lie, I didn't feel great. About this win. Because the first game was kind of scuffed. And the third game, I got kind of lucky with the fast with the now at the start. I think this game, even without the fast with now, would have probably won though. But you know, it's still not an amazing situation, of course, to get a bit lucky in a win like this. But you know, that's the game right now. We just kind of have to deal with it. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Anyway, this team did put me into the top 8 and onto finals the next day. Elepfandflasche actually ended up destroying the losers bracket as well, and he made it to the top 8 final the next day as well. So that is really, really nice. Before we move into my matches in the final, let's take a look at the best game I think we had all of day 1 with Aeeriis versus Inadequate. Starting with an awful lead for Inadequate with this crafting into the Registeel. When he also has Sableye in the back, he's forced to go into his Pelipper. That's, by the way, this is Shadow Sableye. If it was Purified Sableye, it would have returned. It would have a lot of play versus Crafty, but Shadow Sableye, fortunately, doesn't really. His Pelipper gets answered by Cresselia, which is really bad. Cresselia just outbulks Pelipper so much, especially post-Weather Ball nerf. Pelipper just doesn't do that much damage, and Cresselia, even though it's throwing not that strong moves, is still doing so much damage. These double Grass Knots will knock out the Pelipper, so this is looking like a very awful situation for Inadequate here. Cress gonna go for the Grass Knot. It gets shielded, of course. Weather Ball coming through. But Weather Ball is so crappy. So crappy these days that this doesn't even kill. And Aeeriis gets to another Grass Knot. Martijn Inadequate is forced to double shield here. Oh, he could have shielded, but he could have no shielded, but then he would have just gotten swept by the Crafty. Somehow he has to get shields of Aeeriis so he can focus blast the Crafty later. Aeeriis actually makes an interesting move here. I don't think I agree with this. Switching in the Crafty. Actually, thinking about it, maybe this is the right play. I thought he would be able to farm down before the Pelipper gets to 2 Weather Balls with Nidoqueen, but I think maybe he would have reached the 2 Weather Balls against Nidoqueen, so probably a good play if that is the case. Anyway, he's gonna go for the pup here. Still, Inadequate hasn't gotten any shields of Aeeriis. He's gonna let this go again, because he expects his Nidoqueen to do really, really well. Because it also walls the Registeel, of course. And 2 shield Nidoqueen is insane. In comes Sableye. Scrafty gets to the foul play, so he's forced to throw here. on CMP, if Aeeriis shields here, is gonna die because he's at 1 HP and shielded moves to 1 HP damage. So really good no shield by Aeeriis there, but unfortunate that he had to let that go. At this point, even though it's a Sableye versus Nidoqueen, which is generally a good matchup, Aeeriis looking in a very bad, or Nidoqueen's looking like it's a very, very bad spot because this Nidoqueen can still take a Focus Blast, and it has a shield, and it can Earth Power the Registeel. So, not looking that good. Aeeriis gonna go for the Earth Power on the Sableye here to get rid of it. I think maybe if he Poison Fanged earlier, he could have just farmed it down though. So maybe a bit of a mistake. But honestly, when you're up on the stage like that, in such an important route, because whoever wins this actually goes on to the grand finals the next day, it's really easy to make mistakes. It's very easy to say, oh, you should have done that, you should have done this in hindsight, but doing that while you're in that situation with so much pressure is so incredibly difficult. This Registeel is just gonna get outpaced to Nerf Power, so this looks over, right? But Inadequate still has one more play left, and I'm just gonna put on the audio for this.
Here comes the potential swap Earth Power. There's the swap, and he catches.
The Earth Power on Pelipper, and he waves to the crowd.
Just to make sure. But Inadequence shows just how strong a sack swap can be.
And now the Focus Blast is
beautiful.
Take out the Shadow Nidoqueen and take
beautiful
this game.
Oh my goodness. Who needs coffee when you have battles like these?
Exactly.
Inadequate.
Absolutely beautiful game. I remember this so vividly. We were all sitting in the crowd, you know, a bunch of battlers. We went wild. We were so loud they could hear us cheer through the headset. It was great. And Aeeriis knows he's about to become a meme. It's good. It's great. After an exciting day 1, the top 8 was decided, and they will move on to the finals in day 2. Finals were also a double elimination bracket, where all the players that didn't lose on day 1 got seated on the winner side. That is myself, Aeeriis, Frika, and Nico Giro. And then everyone that lost one round in day 1 gets placed on the loser side. Inadequate, Dancing Rob, PokeSquark, and Elepfandflasche. If they lose, they're out. But everyone on the winner side, including myself, if I lose, I will move down to loser bracket, so I still have another chance. At this point, I am actually 1 win away from getting a ticket to the World Championship. The top 4 of this tournament get a ticket to the World Championship. And if I win 1 game or 1 match, I'm in. So that is my goal of this day. First off, though, I'm up against Aeeriis, and he has a tough team for me. Like I said earlier, Medicham is a bit of an issue for me. It beats Stunfisk. It beats Walrein. It's even versus Medicham. It can Psychic my Nidoqueen, and it's dead. Even the Azumarill matchup isn't great because, well, a Play Rough doesn't do that much. Manibus with Snarl, you lose versus Medicham if it has shields, because the Aerial Aces of Snarls don't do anything, and counters and Ice Punches really add up. And of course, Walrein and Stunfisk just lose. Then, Registeel is also a problem in combination with Medicham, because my usual answer to Medicham has been Azumarill, but I can't really run that well with Registeel and Trevenant on the opposing team. And then another Steel type as well. His Manibus is also Air Slash, which makes running my own Manibus much more difficult, which I kind of need for his Trevenant, because his Trevenant kind of beats Azu, Medi, Stunfisk. It's okay versus Nido. It can Seed Bomb Walrein, so that Trevenant is just a real problem. I'm really expecting him to bring it. I'm also expecting him to be afraid of the Nidoqueen, though, because Nidoqueen does beat Registeel, Medi, Mandy, kinda, Trevenant, kinda. It does okay versus Stunfisk. It even does kind of okay versus Walrein. So for this first game, I'm actually not gonna bring Nidoqueen. I'm expecting him to lead something strong as Nidoqueen, because Nidoqueen lead seems very obvious for me. So expecting him to lead Walrein or Stunfisk, so I lead Medi. As you can see, by the way, you see on day 2, they put a fighter in the middle, which I explained earlier. I don't really like this. I couldn't see my opponent, which, I don't know, it's just less fun that way. But you also can't see the charge moves your opponent is doing, which I guess is a good thing. But like I explained before, I think that's part of the experience. We were just picking our teams here, and Right off the bat, he just straight up hard counters me. I mean, we're gonna speak through this game, but it's Medicham onto Trevenant, my Walrein onto his Medicham, and then my Manabuzz onto his Walrein. There's really nothing I can do here. We actually end up having an unfortunate situation here, though. Yeah, he ends up killing my Walrein here. I also misplayed that bit, but yeah, there's no way I'm beating Medi with Walrein anyway. He throws a Psychic into my Medi, and now the worst lag I had the whole tournament is about to happen. All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. We're both standing still. We're both standing still. More standing still. If we get our counters through, he gets some extra counters. He gets the Ice Punch. I get weak connection. You see me kind of a bit mad there. The first Ice Punch doesn't do any damage. Somehow, that just was a ghost charge move or whatever. He gets the Ice Punch now. It kills me. It doesn't kill me, but he does counter me down without me being able to do anything and fire my move. So yeah, that sucked. That sucked. But he did have a Walrein in the back. So it didn't matter. I got hard countered all the way. I saw some comments about this. People were like, why was that not a rematch? Why was it not a rematch? And I just said it's not gonna be a rematch. You see me, you're gonna see me like wave my hand here. I'm like, oh, we're not gonna do a rematch. We're not gonna rematch. I was hard countered. There was nothing I could do, so that was fine. The lag sucked though. That really shouldn't happen. Of course, that really shouldn't have. Shows that the game just. I don't want to keep talking about this, but we know the game just isn't ready. But besides that, the event was beautifully run, of course. So man, I'm excited. If the game works again, this is gonna be fun, right? But we need to see that happen. We need to see that happen, and I'm hoping with how successful this event has been that will happen. Anyway, I don't want to keep talking about it. Next game. I go in with something that was kind of my original plan. Lead Nidoqueen, Azu, switch, and Walrein in the back, and I just get hard countered again. Walrein into Queen, Medi into my Walrein, and then Trev into Azu. We're gonna speed through this, but you're gonna see Trevenant on my Azu. I get beaten here. I'm gonna farm this down with Queen. I get Seed Bombed. The Walrein comes in, it kills me, and then yeah, the Medi ends up on my Walrein and I lose. This was kind of unfortunate, losing to just hard rock paper scissors right there, but I just got he just called my line. I played way too predictable, and it's a good job to him. So I lose my first round, but that doesn't mean it's over yet. I still move on to the losers bracket, and if I win my match there, I still get my ticket to Worlds. In my losers bracket match, I'm up against PokeSquark, running a team of Umbreon, Medicham, Walrein, Talonflame, Deoxys Defense, and Nidoqueen. Not that great of a team for me. I think I have a lot of play. I think Azumarill's really good here. Really only has to worry about the Nidoqueen and the Deoxys Defense, but both of these matches are playable. But like even Medicham and Walrein have play against Azumarill, so it's not a god. Nidoqueen also pretty good. Really only has to worry about the Walrein and like Psycho Boost and Psychics for Medi. Manabuzz, in hindsight, should have brought it more, but I was really worried about his Walrein. But Manabuzz is okay too. I am extremely worried about this Medi and the Deoxys combination. Either one wins versus everything in my team with a shield advantage. So I was kind of expecting him to run something along the lines of Walrein Double Fighter. So I start with a line that kind of predicts that, but also doesn't hard predict it. I run Stunfisk, Azumarill, Nidoqueen, because I think that's my best, most flexible option. If I would have hard predicted this team, I would have probably brought Manabuzz instead of the Nidoqueen. But I didn't feel safe doing that, because then the Medi is kind of a bit too strong. Like if he leads Medi, I think I'm in big trouble versus that squad. So I went with Nidoqueen in the back as well instead. He leads Walrein, which is kind of decent for me, because I can Rock Slide this. He switches into the Deoxys though, try to catch a Rock Slide. I switch to Nidoqueen. I should have really had a better answer to Deoxys save switch on this team, because this really isn't great. I'm really happy to lure this Deoxys out with the or to lure this Deoxys out and get it onto my Nidoqueen, because now my Nidoqueen doesn't see the Walrein, which is good. That's really, really good. I have to spend a shield here, which is quite bad, and I already realized it's gonna be Metacham in the back, which means I'm in a very tough spot. Because, like I said, Metacham with the shield advantage beats basically everything on my team. It's gonna destroy the Stunfisk now, and it could also destroy my Azu. I'm just gonna let this go though, because I know I can take it once it's debuffed. So this is fine. I can't let myself get farmed down by the Walrein. If I let myself get farmed down by the Walrein, it's just gonna be able to throw an Earthquake at my Stunfisk. I'm gonna have to shield, and then the Metacham has a 2 shield advantage, and it's just gonna destroy me. So I switch into a Azumarill here. I also couldn't switch in Stunfisk into the Walrein at this point, because if I did that, then the Metacham would have just came in and countered me down. Yeah, you see me shaking my head a little bit there. Honestly, I knew it was over. I knew it wasn't Medi, but we're just gonna keep playing this, because I think I still have some win conditions if I can like catch a move, maybe. Maybe it isn't Metacham. So let's see. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep play roughing this. Honestly, I think this shields might be a little interesting. No, actually, this is a good shield for my opponent, because he can still get to a couple Earthquakes, right? If he shields up my next Spray Rough, my switch should be up. I was hoping he'd shield up my next Spray Rough, then I could switch Rock Slide. Not before I take this Earthquake, though. Could have overfarmed one more Wobble here. Not gonna matter, I think, but like I said earlier, I wasn't playing optimally this tournament. His health is so low, I'm just gonna switch to Nidoqueen, hoping to get a couple poison jabs in to basically kill it, but I end up catching Earthquake, which is also quite decent. This kills my Queen. I know it's gonna bring in the Medi instantly, so I'm just gonna bring in Azu, because I can get to a move there still. I gotta bring the Azu right now. Here comes the Medi. This is not great, but I have close to an Earthquake stored up onto my Galarian Stunfisk. I actually bait here, kind of unnecessary, because I'm not gonna get to 2 play-roughs, or I'm not gonna get to 2 moves anyway. Well, I'm gonna get to another Ice Beam after this. I don't think I get to another play-rough, but I get to another Ice Beam, which is good, I guess. So I guess it was a good bait, and I knew I was gonna shoot anyway, so it's fine. He has to throw the move like 1 bubble earlier now too, which is really good for me. Gonna come in with the Galarian Stunfisk. And man, this is gonna be rough. He has quite a bit of energy. 2 Ice Punches plus some counters to knock me out. I have to get the 2 Earthquakes here, but I have a lot of energy, so maybe that's possible. After this charge move, my Stunfisk ends up lagging a little bit, which sucked. You see me being really confused about what just happened. Right? Is it not this game? Yeah, I was a bit confused though. I was confused. Yeah, I was a bit confused. Luckily, it didn't matter, though. I lagged for like 3 turns, but I would not have been able to farm down the Walrein anyway, so this game was over. But yeah, it was a bit weird. It was a bit weird. GG, though. He played that really well. The Deoxys with getting the energy or the shield advantage was really huge, and then the Medi in the back. I just couldn't deal with that. I just couldn't deal with that well. So next game, I don't even remember what I do next game. I think... do I not bring the Mandibuzz? Let's see. I bring Medi lead. Or I bring Nidoqueen lead, Azu, Medi this time. Bring my own Medi to counter the Medi as well. Basically triple Medi answer with, well, double Medi answer Nidoqueen, Azu, and then Medi in the back. It's gonna throw my Poison Fang immediately. This is where I keep pointing out when I desync, but you know, let's point out that my opponent didn't get a counter through here. It's pretty big for me, actually. I don't want to be in a shield deficit, though. So I'm going to just catch this move on Azumarill. Otherwise, I would have needed to shield on Nidoqueen. I'm just going to catch it instead to save shields. Azumarill is quite safe against his team anyway, and I want to lure out the Deoxys, because I have a Metacham in the back. So if he has a Deoxys or even Nidoqueen, I want to lure that out with Azu. Brings it in here. This play rough is gonna do a good chunk. But these Thunderbolts are really gonna add up as well. I want shields down here. I want at least 1 shield down here. I don't want to go 2 shields down. If I go 2 shields down, the Metacham can just Psychic my Nidoqueen later. But I want to get at least one shield down. Because I don't know exactly why, actually, but it just felt good. I think I could have done without getting both shields down, to be honest. Or getting one shield down, but getting some shields down is kind of nice for my Nidoqueen. I'm just gonna take the second Thunderbolt though, because again, I couldn't go 2 shields down, because then I just get Psychicked. Hopefully I can reach another move before this Deoxys reaches a Psycho Boost here. Thunderbolt, or throws it. I'm not going to be able to. Good timing by opponent here right before I get to the Ice Beam. Just going to let this go. I can farm this down with Metacham at this point because he is double debuffed. I'm not too worried about taking another move. I think I bring that in, right? Oh no, actually bringing the Queen. Yeah, I think I was planning on throwing like 4 poison jabs and then switching into my Medi to catch it. But actually it ends up switching into his Walrein. So I instant switch into my Medi. I feel like this was a bit of a misplay for my opponent. Maybe he would have had a better chance if he stayed in. Because then he would have been able to get his Walrein into my Nido. But now I just kill it with the Psych. Or he shoots it up. Yeah, this is fine. Because I can farm it down at this point with my Medi. I was considering no shooting this and farming it down with Nidoqueen. But I think that was a huge misplay. Would have been a huge misplay. Because I would have taken so much Powder Stone damage. I think it would have got a nice full spear. Now I can farm it down. I should be able to get to a move before the Medi gets to a Psychic, hopefully. But the only problem I see here is if the Deoxys comes in, I think he maybe should have gotten Deoxys. Because then I had to waste energy, and then his Medi might be able to get to a move. I think that might have been a little better play for my opponent. But, my Nidoqueen was also close to a Poison Fang, so I'm not sure if it mattered. This was a stupid move, probably. It would have been way safer if it just was Ice Punch, but I wanted to play it fancy and catch the Psycho Boost just for fun. So I did. It was fun. It was very fun. And now Ice Punch and I take the win. So GG. We're 1-1 in this series now. And I'm very worried about that Deoxys defense. To be honest, I'm very, very worried. I don't want to get caught shields down with Nidoqueen again. So I bring the Galarian Stunfisk because it's also kind of decent. Against the Deoxys defense. I lead Azu because it's just a good generalist. I've been safe switching it these 2 games, so I feel like he's not going to expect it as lead, but he ends up leading with the worst thing possible, Shadow and Nidoqueen. And if you look at these lineups right now, there's a Medi on my Stunfisk, there's a Deoxys on my Medi. It's not looking great from the get-go, but let me tell you, this is a very good game. Azumarill is not helpless against Nidoqueen because I am running the Ice Beam. That's exactly why I'm running Ice Beam, by the way. I think this moveset is the way to go. Though there's a lot of Regis as well, so Hydro can be useful there. It's kind of just depends on what you're facing, really. I enjoyed having Ice Beam for this Nidoqueen though, and when I face Regi teams, I usually just bench the Azu. Alright, Ice Beam on the Nido has to use a shield. In comes Sheefish. Sheefish with a shield advantage is very strong. He gets to bring in the Metacham here, though. Which, yeah, it's not great for me, but I should be able to get a shield here at least. I'm really hoping he uses at least 1 shield here. I might use a shield here, too. If I can get shields down, that's really good for my Medi. Because then I can Ice Punch the Nidoqueen later. Throws the Ice Punch here. Man, I'm not that experienced with Galarian Stunfisk anymore. I really thought I could be able to survive the next Ice Punch and get to the Earthquake. I end up lagging here a little bit again, but it doesn't matter. I would have CMP'd on the Ice Punch anyway, and I wouldn't have survived it. So I have to shield no matter what, to overtap here a little bit because of it, but it's not gonna matter in the end. Throw the Earthquake into the Medi. This should take it out, and he does, dude. If he no-shielded this, it would have been really good for me, but he lets it go. Very smart. Because he knows the Deoxys has so much play versus my team. So much play. I really should have brought the Manibus, to be honest. But I was too scared of the Walrein. I didn't want it to turn into RPS. If I would have brought Manibus, it would have been pure RPS. I would have needed to get it aligned properly, and I'm not confident I can do that. Because that's honestly, that's my weak point. I think that's my weak point at the moment. With line building, calling my opponent's teams. I'm not that great at that. Just need to get more experienced, I guess. This matchup, Medi Deoxys, is not the worst. It's really not the worst. I'm going to shield this move, expecting him to throw a Psycho Boost and dip out. But this shield ends up Thunderbolting, so Not the greatest shield, but not bad either. Preserving that health is okay. Just gonna keep on ice punching. Gonna throw another Thunderbolt, which is an interesting move. Because he's actually gonna end up switching before he throws the next Thunderbolt. Or before he even throws a Psycho Boost. Just gonna throw an Ice Punch here. And then another one afterwards. I got kind of lucky with the denies in this match as well. Like, I think I snuck basically everything. And I denied a couple moves, so pretty fortunate for me. Here goes Nidoqueen. I'm just gonna switch to Stun Fist because he has to throw a move in order to take me out. He doesn't though. He doesn't throw his move. So I'm just gonna throw the Rock Slide. He can just shoot. If he shoots this, I'm hoping I can come in Medi and get to the Ice Punch, but even that would not be possible. But he no shields. That's actually a huge mistake by my opponent. My opponent is giving me every opportunity to win this game at the moment. Because now I might be able to bubble this down. I have to get my bubble through here. If he throws the move immediately, I have to get my bubble through. So you're going to see me tap with like 8 fingers. Look at that. Look at that taps. I get it. But it's only because he threw a Poison Jab before. Good timing by my opponent. This won't take me out. He's actually going to have to throw another one after this in order to take me out. Which he will. And then it comes down to if I can kill the Deoxys with my Medicham. And I mean, I can counter this down. And he gets the Psycho Boost at 1 HP. I had the Ice Punch. I should have just thrown the Ice Punch. But I didn't count. I didn't count. I wasn't really counting. Like I said before, I wasn't on top of my game. If I would have counted, I would have known that he was at the Psycho Boost right there. I should have thrown, and then I would have just CMP'd with the Ice Punch. I would have had a shield kill. I think during the battle, realizing that after that counter is gonna be at 1 HP, it's incredibly hard. So I am kind of bummed I didn't throw the Ice Punch, but also I don't think I would have ever seen that. So it's fine. It's fine. I could have won that game. I could have really won that game. But yeah, I lost. I lost, and that means I'm out of the tournament, and I don't have a ticket to Worlds. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is. Overall, still a really amazing weekend. Congrats to PokeSquark for making it into Worlds, because with that win, he actually made it into Worlds alongside Aeeriis, Dancing Rob, and Freecap. So congrats to those 4. If you guys want to see me cover their matches, let me know in the comments, and I might just do that. Alright? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.